Hello again. This is another video that I did over a stream. In this case, instead of doing pixel art, I did a few portraits for a game that I'm working on called Keep the Keep, and these are the units. This one in particular is the archer. Now the archer has been drawn both with the head that looks like the Robin Hood head, but also the nose and beard were drawn sort of to look like an arrow. So that was a little test of character design, just putting in shapes there as graphical design as well. Now the technique I'm using here for shading the face is basically using brush strokes aligned with the surface of the, in this case face, but of the object that you're shading. And I'm basically drawing those brush strokes in the direction where that surface is curving to, right? So it's basically allowing me to almost automatically draw wrinkles without having to be too precise about the construction of the face underneath. It also is a technique that works on layers as you add more and more information, but it can be done without a base layer of color. You can go in and just add the brush strokes where you need that color to be, and you basically add color in a way that you basically eat up all the space that's left. So you add a brush stroke and you're never going to paint there again. The issue with that is that it requires you to be very good at your color picking. You need to be really good at figuring out the colors that you're going to use. So that's why I kind of steer away from it for now, and instead do a base color layer and then gradually do the different passes with brighter and brighter colors or darker and darker colors as I need them for the project itself. So in this case, I'm adding a few details here because the guy is an archer, and this is something that's kind of going to go away with the other ones. So in here I'm doing more of a construction for the face of the grenadier, basically the insane guy with fire weapons. And the mistake that happened on this one, and this is one of the reasons why I kind of don't like this one that much. Well, one, it looks a little too insane. I mean, insane enough that he's enjoying it, and that I kind of don't like that, because this character is supposed to be a narcissistic. So I kind of give up on that one, and I start building different faces and end up getting to one that I kind of feel has that sort of narcissistic pyromaniac feel, which is this one, where he's kissing the bomb before he throws it away. So that's kind of cool. So I look for this expression where it's really being sort of, just self-indulgent and kind of cocky with it. And again, you see, I'm only using one color, but by the intensity and the size of brush strokes, I'm shading all those different surfaces on the face. I also make use of that rim light to really carve the shape of the silhouette, which is something that's helpful for me because the face was rolling into shadow, and that gives me less and less opportunity to make shapes out of that, right? And I'm also using the same brush stroke technique here on the bomb, which it kind of looks out of theme, and it's a little weird to have the bomb take up so much space of the portrait, but I can always crop it. Now the main issue with this face isn't really the shading work on it. It's the proportions. It looks too close to a real proportionate face, and that's what I don't like, because the characters in the game are supposed to be cartoony. But I move forward anyway, and I build the shape of the face for the musketeer. And in this one I use a different technique where I build a face and then I define the shadow area right away. So I do all my cast shadows right away. I put them on a new layer and multiply. Here I'm testing the blur just to see if that works for me. And now I go in and with the brush tool again carve in the shapes by adding brush strokes again in the direction of the surfaces that I'm shading. And the issue here with this one especially is that because of the colors that I'm using and because of the intensity of the brush strokes, it kind of makes it look like not skin, but more like bronze, like a bronze sculpture that's being that has light reflected to it. Also this is something that was completely off, but adding the black hat really made this look like Yul Brynner, I think it is, an old Western movie actor who mostly played villains, or interesting characters, as Alan Richman would call them. This is the mage. It's the only female character, and I steer from drawing female characters a lot because I'm not really that good at drawing female faces, or at least I feel like I'm not. And so I never want to get myself into trouble creating something that has to be on an end product. I will draw a female face as practice for myself. I don't steer away from that, but on a final product, I'm really skeptical of because someone is going to come up and say that's looks weird, and I don't want the product that I worked on to go through that because of me. But she's supposed to cast spells. The little purple on the tip of the nose and on the face cheeks, that's supposed to be reflecting from the spell that she's casting from her hand. And you can see the purple theme going through, and that has to do with the fact that the game is mostly being drawn in purple. Now, I redraw the Grenadier's face, and I make this isometric, or the three-quarter view. And I really like this one because, one, the proportions are way less realistic. The guy has a smirk, has a lot more cocky expression, but it's just trying to be cute, but he's just being cocky and self-assured, which is absolutely fine for the character. It really doesn't matter the player. When the player is play the game, it doesn't really care how the character is, as a person. But it's just interesting to create backstory and just adds a little bit more depth to characters that are otherwise basically tools for the game. But I just kind of like to do this because it just makes the working in the game a lot more fun. The issue here is that I made the skin color too dark, I think, for how bright I have my highlights. So I should either have lit up the skin tone and made a brighter skin tone, or I should have brightened down the highlights and just have overall more reflections everywhere, so it would be more like a dark-skinned person rather than having, again, this kind of bronze effect, same way as I had with the Musketeer. The issue with this technique is that some of the time you spend kind of covering up the line work that you did previously. And here you see a collage of all the four of them distributed, and you can see how different they look, even though I made them within the same period of time or close to it. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this, and take care.